Finally, the day has arrived. An international airline for the first time has officially announced on their website that they are inviting their former cabin crew to rejoin the airline. Yes, you got it right. I'm talking about Qatar Airways. But this video is going to be diving in a little bit deeper, talking about a couple of things. First and foremost, what makes Qatar Airways take this decision when a lot of other airlines are still struggling to make the ends meet? Number two, we're going to be focusing on the interview process. And yes, you heard it right. There is an interview process for people who will be rejoining the airline, because this is definitely based on a lot of criteria, and we're going to talk about all those things in detail. And third, I'm going to be talking about the importance of figuring out the gap in your employment. So for everyone who is a former employee for an international airline, has now been made redundant or being laid off, and at some point in time you will be invited to join back the airline as the airline has promised you, you would want to figure out how to showcase that employment gap in a positive manner. So that is going to be really, really important. So do stay till the end, because I'm going to be focusing on all these three things one by one. I'm Nidhi, Belani, your interview coach, and welcome back to my channel once again. Now, to answer to our first question, how is Qatar Airways able to do this? Let's straight away go to IATA's economics chart of the week, which was published on the 18th June 2021. And here we're looking at great differences between the operating conditions of the airlines. Now, even before I actually expand on this a little bit, just in case if you missed out one of my earlier videos where I have talked about the similar thing, where I have mentioned how during this entire pandemic situation, recovery for different airlines is going to be very different based on a lot of factors. Their political conditions, their geographical locations, their economic conditions, and so on and so forth. So just stemming from there itself, now that we look at this chart, IATA has specifically talked about two major factors that will be playing an important role when it comes to the recovery of the aviation industry. What kind of domestic market the carrier will be able to focus on, and what is the vaccination drive status for that particular country. So if you notice right, the top right hand corner of the chart basically focuses a lot on United States, because you must have noticed that I have posted a couple of job opportunities for US carriers, because they were hiring at some point in time a few months ago, because their vaccination drive has really caught up. It has been successful, and at the same time they have a huge domestic market that they're able to leverage on. If you notice, China, even though their vaccination drive has not caught up, but they have a really huge domestic market. And that is why I had even shared in one of my videos that for China, the domestic travel had gone higher than what it was pre-COVID levels, and that is what we're looking at. But if you focus a little bit to the left of the chart itself, you would notice that most of the Asia Pacific and South American countries, their carriers in general do have a large domestic market. However, because of their vaccination drive is not successful, that is why they're not able to operate to the full capacity. Now, I still remember that there was this time in December when India was not hit by the second wave. Indigo Airlines was actually hiring because they had a huge demand of the domestic travel that has picked up. This was posted in April 2021 that the industry-wide revenue passenger kilometers was still 65.4% lower compared to the pre-crisis level. I believe this number should have gone up a little bit by now, but then overall, a lot of airlines are not able to actually operate at the full capacity at this point in time because of the setbacks they have faced from this entire pandemic. But I want to go back and focus on Qatar Airways a little bit, and I want to share with you 5 reasons as to why I personally think that Qatar Airways has been leading in this pandemic and the recovery that they have actually done for themselves. First thing I believe that Qatar Airways has done right is to deploy safety measures from end to end of the passenger journey. They operated the world's first fully COVID-19 vaccinated flight. One of the things that they really focused on was connecting families and places. Date 15th October 2020. Qatar Airways network expands to 100 destinations. Now, October 2020 is the time when we were seriously dealing with a pandemic. And this is the time when Qatar Airways was actually looking at expanding, because a lot of airlines, when they chose not to fly, Qatar Airways did not stop flying, and they were actually sticking to their fundamental mission of taking people home, which was just amazing. And the third thing that I believe really is their investment in customer service. Now, at the same time, Qatar Airways took on to their environmental responsibilities very, very seriously. And lastly, Qatar Airways really focused a lot on their shipping and cargo. They actually launched freighters to Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Japan. And do you guys know that the airline was awarded International Cargo Airline of the Year at the Stat Trade Times Awards event? Now, isn't that just amazing what Qatar Airways has done for themselves to be able to come to a point where they can actually hire their former cabin crew? And this is where I would want to refer to Julia's video at this point in time, because this is the second section of the video where we're going to be talking about what is the interview process going to be like. Now, this is an important video that I really want all of you to watch, because she's kind of expanded in her own experience as an ex-cabin service director for Qatar Airways as to what it takes to be a cabin crew for Qatar Airways. For Qatar Airways, they are prioritizing highly motivated former cabin crew who can deliver legendary hospitality and world-class service. And at the same time, they should be able to, support the customer experience, which is driven by all the memorable experience that cabin crew is supposed to create. Now, Qatar Airways has also mentioned that this is an airline which has achieved a 5-star Skytrax rating, including the prestigious 5-star airline rating, 5-star airport rating, 5-star COVID-19 airline safety rating, and a 5-star COVID-19 airport safety rating. Now, they have always been a leader in the industry. And obviously, for someone to come back and join the airlines, it would definitely take a lot to be able to ensure that this person or this cabin crew, who once was a former cabin crew of Qatar Airways, still has it in them. So that is exactly why there is an interview process which is in place. At this point in time, officially, you can actually go to the website and you can apply. It will ask you to apply with LinkedIn, or you can actually upload your CV and then fill in all the necessary details. So if you notice, right, they're actually asking you to apply with LinkedIn, and this is something that I've been talking about for a long time. I think it's really, really important to focus on your social media presence from a very professional perspective. If you still don't have a LinkedIn account, I highly advise you to do that. I highly advise you to make professional contacts with people from the aviation industry. Go and follow pages that are important and relevant for you. Like, I follow Qatar Airways, I follow Singapore Airlines, I follow IATA, and a lot other relevant pages that will give me necessary information and not just job-related information. So that's really, really important. But of course, if you don't have a LinkedIn at this point in time, you can also upload your CV. And that is where I want to talk a little bit about how should you focus on the employment gap when you are submitting your CV. But also, they are going to ask you job-specific questions, because if you notice, there are 4 parameters here: your personal information, followed by your experience and your education. You're going to be talking about you're going to be answering some job-specific questions, and then you're going to be submitting your form. Now, the job-specific questions, I believe, would be quite similar to what they have been asking on the video interview that has been done before. Now, these are some of the questions that were asked in the video interview. They have asked the candidates 2 very important questions as to how was their flying experience with Qatar Airways, because I think that is really, really important to be able to see how passionate are you still towards this job, to be able to understand, do you still have the motivation, do you still have the relevant skills? And I think that's really important as well. And of course, the second thing that they focused on was, what exactly did you do during this time when you were not flying for Qatar Airways? And that is where you would want to talk about, how were you making yourself useful? How were you actually leveraging on the necessary skills to be able to keep yourself abreast, keep yourself at a level where you can again go back and join Qatar Airways as a cabin crew for a leading airline in the industry itself. So these are some of the things that they will be focusing on. So for the interview process, so that's exactly the whole process. And as I said, for some of the people who've already been through the process, they will be joining the airlines very, very soon, given that they've submitted the documents, have gone through the entire medical process that they need to, from what has been shared with me. But at the same time, I highly, as I said, recommend to go ahead and watch Julia's video where she has talked about Qatar Airways' rehiring, because she has really talked about what does it take to get back into the game. And I truly believe in her experience and her expertise, not just because she is an ex-cabin service director, but also because she brings in a lot of her insight and information from her aviation management study that she has been doing. And that is where her network and her expertise also comes into the play. So I definitely do recommend you to go ahead and watch that video. But going to the third part of the video, where I want to focus a little bit on the CV preparation itself. Now, it's really important to actually not shy away from your employment gap, even though at this point in time, I understand that you're rejoining the similar airline, so that would not pose a lot of a concern for you if you don't really focus on your employment gap, because they understand, because they are the ones who actually asked you to leave. But then, as I understand, not everybody might make the cut, and not everybody might want to go back into the industry. So what you really want to do at this point in time is actually focus on 3 things if you really want to cover that employment gap in your CV. First and foremost, you can actually create a cover letter, or you could actually put that information in your personal summary right at the top of your CV itself. The second thing that you should definitely do is that if you have actually, upgraded yourself to learn new skills, or for that matter of fact, if you've joined any company just to be able to stride through, I personally believe that you should mention that, because at the end of the day, they would want to see whether you were just sitting idle at home or were you actually utilizing your time. So when you put something like that in your CV, that goes to show that you're confident, you know what you're doing. You're not just, shying away from answering questions, and that is why you just take that out from your CV, because as I said, that question will be asked. So why not actually give the interviewers a talking point by actually inserting whatever that you were doing at that point in time and how you were making yourself useful. It could be a small employment that you took up, or for that matter of fact, it could be just a skills learning program that you enrolled yourself in. But I highly recommend that you do put that in your CV. The third thing that will help you in covering that employment gap is not something that you have to put in your CV, but it is something that you have to put in your mind. Anything that you do is a value add. Anything that you do is a good experience. So don't shy away from it. Face it. Talk about it, but in such a way that it reflects positively. It goes to show to the interviewers that, whatever that you do, you've put some thought process behind it. So even if you left the airline, you had your own reasons, but instead of focusing on that, focus on what have you done to bring yourself back into the industry, because that is where your motivation and your passion lies. So that's the third thing that I need you to do. I need you to adjust that mindset a little bit. Don't think negative, think positive. Because I really hope that you find value in this particular video that I have shared with you. And if you do go ahead and like, share, and comment. And for everyone out there who is a former cabin crew and is looking forward to going back to the industry, all the best. I really hope that this works out for you. But they're obviously not going to be able to take everyone back. So the onus actually lies on you. How are you able to convince them with your CV, with your credentials, with your physical readiness, your mental readiness, your emotional readiness, and all of that. So that would definitely play a huge part. So going back to what I was just saying, I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. And if you did, and if you gained value, do go ahead and press the notification bell. If you still are not subscribed to the YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe as well. And, I'm really happy to make valuable content for all of you. So do share with me, what else do you want me to talk about? And I'll be happy to make a video on this. And if you haven't been watching one of our dedicated series, we have been doing something called FAQ Sunday Interview Tips, because we have been focusing a lot more on interviews in particular, not just for aviation industry, but for interviews in general. So do go ahead and take a look at that, because we've covered like a lot of stuff in a lot of detail, from CV to eye contact to personality and things like that. And I hope that adds value to your interview preparation. So once again, thank you for watching the video. Everyone out there, please stay happy, stay safe, and I love you guys.